Greetings to all of humanity. It's really a joy. It's a pleasure. It's always my honor to be bringing this message of emancipation to you, whereby I'm pointing you to look no other place but to look inwardly to discover that your real identity is your divinity. And that is why I want to share with you the power of forgiveness. And as we know, Abdullah, the black mystic from Ethiopia, Neville Goddard mentor, he taught Nevill the power of forgiveness and why forgiveness is very important if we want to manifest our desires and do it with joy and happiness, knowing that it is our own thoughts that is creating our reality and that we can create our reality consciously. Now, one of the first things that Abdullah taught Neville Goddard is that the Bible addresses the human mind and must be interpreted psychologically. He also taught him that the Bible is not literal, neither is it secular history, and that it was written symbolically, and that it has no reference to anyone that existed thousands of years ago or to any actual event that would have taken place on earth thousands of years ago. So he pointed out to Nevill that the entire Bible, from the beginning to the end, it's all parabolic, and that God is within. Also, it is very important for you to know the name of God. Because when you realize that the name of God is I am, you realize that the entire human race has the same name, which is I am. For you can never say I am and not referring to yourself. So Nevill shared a story of himself where he had the desire to have 2 tickets to the opera for a certain show, and this desire that he had was not just for himself but was for his brothers. And Nevill would have learned this from Abdullah also, because Abdullah was the one who first had a desire for Nevill in the time of the Great Depression, when Nevill had no work, he had no money, but he had this burning desire to go to Barbados. And it was Abdullah who would have done it on his part, and Abdullah played the part and assured him that he was going to travel to Barbados first class, and he did. So Nevill knew these principles and understanding the law. He used the law of assumption to see his brothers having 2 tickets, and that they were receiving these 2 tickets from him. And while Nevill was in the line waiting to get his ticket to see another show, having heard the news and would have read it also in the newspapers that there was no ticket left for this particular show, he was not easily moved, and he didn't give up on his desire of having his 2 brothers having the ticket. And so he went there, and as I would have said before, while he was waiting, there was a con man who wanted to con the ticket seller, and Nevill happened to see what he did. He and his partner, who was working together to pull off this deceitful act. And when the ticket seller realized what would have taken place, Nevill shouted to the guy to come back, that he was needed. And Nevill also played his part in confronting the guy also, and saying to him that he actually saw what he did and that he did not give the ticket seller the right money. And so this man who was playing the part of a thief didn't even know he was doing that to fulfill Neville's desire also. And so when Nevill got to the ticket seller to buy his ticket, he called for 2 tickets for that particular show, which was the Aida, for his 2 brothers. And the man the ticket seller proceed to go into a special place that says VIP, which means very important people. Also, Neville was very specific in asking him for the 2 tickets for the center of the opera hall for his brothers to be seated. And because of what Neville would have done on behalf of the ticket seller, he went and he got those 2 tickets for Neville, and Neville was not a part of the VIP. But all of this took place to show you that we are to forgive everyone, because they're all working and playing their part on your behalf also. Now, in my own case, when I was living in a certain area and I wanted to get out of that area, I started going to bed, sleeping in another place, which is this place where I am residing right now. I was sleeping in this other place that I saw in my imagination that was very spacious and so on. And I wanted to end a relationship, and I wanted to be by myself so I can do my imaginal acts and I can believe in what I believe in, because this other person did not believe in what I teach and so on, and they were not even practicing it, and there was a lot of distractions and so on that couldn't allow me to use my imagination the way, because there was much privacy also. Okay, and so there were people who work on my behalf and didn't even know that they were working on my behalf. Even the person the original owner of the home, who was actually residing in Canada, they actually gave bad news towards the house and so on, and got the woman to travel all the way from Canada to come to this island and so on, and for her to move with me in a way that wasn't quite inviting or friendly. Okay, though she didn't say anything to hurt me or anything, but her actions were sending a message to me also. And then when she got back to Canada, she was sending messages to ask me to leave the place. But I spent another year before I leave, because I would have always said to them that when it's time, I would know exactly that it is time for me to leave. Okay, and it was exact time when I follow my intuition and I leave. But all those people were actually working on my behalf. All the people were saying negative things and so on. They were actually working on my behalf. And up to now, they do not know that they were working on my behalf, because they're still fast asleep. Now, when you come to realize that we can either be God awake or God asleep, then you would realize that you, who have come to the highest place of consciousness, you have to say, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And that is why it's very important to practice forgiveness, because everyone is just another version of yourself. It is only God in the world that is playing all of these different parts for their infinite states of consciousness. And if we do not have the awareness, and we don't understand how their mind works, and we do not understand how thought works, then we would do things out of ignorance, because we're born in this world in a state called amnesia, with a state of forgetfulness. And because we have forgotten who we are, every one of us is in this world seeking to know who we are. Many people hold on to what the system tell them that they are, and they remain asleep and remain in amnesia. That is why we have to forgive them, because we know better. So my brother and my sisters, my encouragement to you is to practice forgiveness. If you want to manifest things in your life, if you want to see things work out for you, you have to practice forgiveness. One of the only things I had to do when I started coming to consciousness, I had to go to people and ask for forgiveness. I didn't think about who was right or who was wrong. All I knew that I had to get my chest clear of whatever was blocking me, and those persons are having the best relationship that we should have in this world. Okay, but I didn't even know I was going to come into all of this wisdom, and didn't know I was going to come to this place of discovering true happiness. And I want to say to you that true happiness is within. And as long as you can understand that everything is within and all things exist in your imagination, you also understand that if you want to see a change in your outer world, there must be a change in your inner world. And one of the most powerful things to do is to practice forgiveness every day in your life, understanding people more. Be more compassionate because you have a better understanding. I know it's not easy, because when I know I was starting, it was not easy for me to become more compassionate and for me to be more empathetic towards others. But now, as I keep growing in grace and understand that grace is unconditional love, we have to practice that unconditional love in our heart, so be able to change our world. That is why you've been told to not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And also whatever things that are good, are lovely, are pure, if there be any virtue in it, that you must think on these things. For as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So my brother and my sisters, if you're not manifesting and there's any blockage in your life, I would encourage you to check your life and see if you have forgiven everyone. See if there's anything that you're holding in your life, any bad experience, anything that you're holding towards, whether is it your brother, your sister, your father, whoever, or any relative or any friend or anyone. And you have to get over that hurdle by forgiving them so you can move on. Because as I said before, they are just another version of yourself. And let me just say this as I come to a close. Always remember that you have a body and you have a head. Remember, as you have a head and a tail, remember you have a higher self and a lower self. And there are those who fall in the state of dwelling in the lower self. And if you're in the higher self, you should know better. Therefore, you should do better, because you understand the power of the mind. You understand the power of thoughts. You know that it is your thoughts that is creating your personality. So you be the example. You be the change you want to see. So my brother, my sisters, let me just say this. Many people will gravitate towards something they may see on the internet that is speaking about law of attraction. But this is actually law of attraction I am teaching you right here. Because for you to attract anything in your life, you have to learn to remove, first of all of the hurdles. And all of the hatred, the envy, the malice, all of the stumbling blocks. So you go right back to forgiveness. So practice the power of forgiveness in your life and prove it for yourself. And live the best version of yourself. So with that being said, my brother and my sister, I think I would have said enough. And I want to say to you, if this is the very first time that you're listening to me and what I'm saying, it really makes sense to you and it really reach out to you and it helping you to understand why you should have more of a loving and forgiving heart, I would say to you, if you haven't subscribed to this channel as yet, and this is your first time, to subscribe, to like, to comment, or to share this video. Also, I want to say just before I leave you that this message that I bring to you, that it is the message, the single eye message of self-realization, of which Matthew 6:22 says that if your eye be single, your whole body will be full of light. And my brother and my sisters, it wasn't until my body was filled with light, when the single eye opened within me, whereby I would have awakened from the dream of life after the great and mighty shaking, and I would have heard the unearthly wind, whereby I would have ascended like a fiery being and exit my skull and became one with the wind. And it been for that experience, I wouldn't have been here speaking to you concerning the power of forgiveness. I wouldn't have been here bringing this love to you. But because of that experience, I'm sharing this love to you and always saying to you that do not let anyone brainwash or deceive you by keeping you under the energy of fear. That's the reason why I always say to you, do not let anyone ever tell you that the eye above the pyramid and the US dollar is an evil symbol or a demonic symbol. No, It is the symbol of the all-seeing eye of God in you, who is your imagination, for you would have an awakened imagination and come to realize that the eye represents the eye of the prophets, the eye of the mystics, the seers, those who would vibrate beyond humanity and come into their divinity. That's the reason why, my brother and my sisters, I always put my hands right above my crown chakra and give you the symbol of the single eye, saying to you that when you have the experience, that you will come to realize that it is the rising of the S-U-N in a S-O-N, and that it is the dawning of a new day in your life. For the sun, as in the S-U-N, parallels the human imagination, and the human imagination parallels the sun. For without the sun, there is no life and there is no light. And without the human imagination, there isn't anything made that was made. Also, you're told in Psalms 84:11 that the Lord thy God is a sun and a shield, and no good thing will he withhold from you. And truly, the Son has never withhold its love from humanity, for the Son is what powers all of humanity and give all of humanity its energy, for we all are using one energy. Therefore, let us use that energy creatively. Also, in Malachi chapter 4 verses 2, you're told that the Son, as in the S-U-N, of righteousness shall arise in you with healing in his wings. And that is why I'm bringing healing to all of humanity by pointing each and everyone to look inwardly and encouraging you to use your mind power, which is your sun power, your solar power, your God power, your creative power, which is actually the sexual power. Use that power to achieve your every desire. So with that being said, I want to say peace, love you all, I'm out.